Some mornings you catch your own reflection in the mirror and pause. The hair is still long, still the same style you've worn for years, but instead of that familiar, comforting presence, you notice something else, a heaviness that drags your face down, a softness that makes your hair look finer than it really is. It's not age that did this. It's how the light hits, how the strands fall, how every inch seems to reveal more of your scalp than you'd like. After 60, hair changes in ways we don't always expect. The strands get finer, the natural lift fades, the density shifts. And the truth is, the style that once suited you perfectly may no longer work with the hair you have today. It's not about having less hair, it's about having the right cut to make the most of what you have now. In this video, we'll explore 5 hairstyles that instantly make thin hair look fuller, styles that flatter, lift, and bring back a sense of vitality without demanding hours of upkeep. And we'll begin with one of the most common mistakes, an innocent-looking style that's quietly stealing the volume and energy from your hair. There's back to one that was one-length long hair, without layers. Have you ever noticed that the longer your hair gets, the less volume it seems to have? Almost as if every extra inch is quietly stealing its fullness? For many women, especially after 60, keeping hair all one length feels safe. It's familiar, it's simple, and there's a belief that the extra length will cover thin spots or frame the face in a flattering way. But here's the truth no one likes to admit. That very length you've been holding on to may be the reason your hair looks flatter, finer, and less alive. Over time, as our hair changes, gravity becomes an uninvited stylist. Every additional inch pulls the strands downward, weighing them against the scalp. The crown loses its natural lift and the ends start to look wispy, almost see-through. Without layers to create movement and redirect the eye, the hair hangs straight, making the lack of density far more obvious than it would be in a shorter, strategically cut style. It's not that long hair can't be beautiful after 60. It absolutely can, but it has to stop at the point where the hair still looks thick, not stringy. And that point is different for everyone. Here's my professional trick for finding yours. Stand in front of a mirror and gently gather the ends of your hair in your hand. Slide your hand upward, shortening the length, and watch how the thickness changes. Somewhere along the way, you'll hit a spot where the ends suddenly look fuller, more substantial. That's your ideal long length. Anything beyond it is only making your hair look thinner. When you cut to that length, make the line at the bottom clean and blunt. A sharp, straight edge acts like a frame around a painting. It defines the shape and makes it look more solid. Soft, frayed ends might feel romantic, but they give away every bit. Thin, that you're trying to hide, and if you want to add even more visual density, introduce bangs. Bangs, when cut correctly, do more than soften a look. They pull the eye to the center of your face, away from the temples or the crown, where thinning often starts. They break up the expansive forehead, creating an impression of fullness, even before you touch the rest of your hair. I remember my wife asking me once, if my hair is thinning at the top, will bangs really help? The answer is yes, absolutely. The right bangs can camouflage sparse areas at the hairline, guide attention to your eyes, and add an element of interest that distracts from any lack of density. You don't have to go for heavy, blunt bangs unless you want to. Even lighter, wispy bangs, cut from the right starting point on your scalp, can work wonders. Here's a quick test you can try at home. Take a comb and place it flat on the top of your head. Where the comb naturally lifts off the scalp is where your bangs will fall forward. Gather hair from that point to the recession lines at your temples. That's your bang section. Comb it forward and see if it's enough to create the look you want. If it feels too thin, it's better to keep them soft and airy, rather than forcing thickness that isn't there. The key is to work with the hair you have now, not against it. By cutting your length to where your hair still holds weight, framing it with a clean, blunt edge, and adding bangs to draw the eye upward, you transform a one-length style from limp and aging to polished and volumized. It's still long hair, but it's long hair that works for you, not against you. 2. Medium length with face framing layers. What if you could keep the femininity of longer hair, but instantly give it the lift and movement that makes it look twice as full? For so many women, especially after 60, the idea of going shorter can feel like a leap they're not ready to take. That's where a medium-length cut with soft face-framing layers becomes the perfect bridge. A style that feels familiar yet transforms the way your hair moves, catches the light, and frames your features. The magic lies in the placement of those layers. Instead of cutting into the bulk of your hair and thinning it out all over, this approach keeps the back mostly one length for fullness, while introducing light layering just at the front. Those front layers have a purpose. They curve gently toward your face, adding depth and dimension without sacrificing density. The eye follows that curve, creating the illusion of thicker hair even before you add any styling. It's a small change that makes a surprisingly big difference. Your hair suddenly feels alive again instead of hanging straight and flat. One of my go-to professional tips for this style is all about the finish. When you style those front layers, avoid pulling them stick straight. Flat ironing will only smooth out the very movement that makes them so flattering. Instead, reach for a round brush, or if you find coordinating a brush and dryer tricky, use a rotating blow-dry brush. As you dry, roll the hair slightly away from your face to create a soft bend. This subtle curve does two things. It lifts the hair away from the scalp, and it adds volume through the mid-lengths, making the hair look denser without adding weight. I remember standing behind my wife in front of the mirror as she tried this style for the first time. She looked at me and said, "What if I can't use a round brush? Can I just grab my flat iron instead?" I knew exactly why she asked. It's easier, it's familiar, but my answer was simple. You could, but you'd be taking away the very thing that makes this style work. A flat iron polishes and smooths, but in doing so, it collapses the lift and makes the hair lay closer to the head. If volume is the goal, heat tools need to work with your hair's natural texture, not against it. For women with fine or thinning hair, even the smallest curve at the front can completely change the perception of fullness. It softens hard angles in the face, draws attention to the eyes, and restores that sense of movement we associate with youthful, healthy hair. And because the bulk of the cut remains solid in the back, you keep the density that so many layering techniques accidentally remove. This is the kind of style that doesn't shout for attention, it whispers it. It says you understand your hair, you know how to make it work for you, and you're not afraid to adapt. It's a gentle transition from the safety of long hair to a fresher, lighter shape that breathes life into every strand. And the best part? You can still tuck it behind your ear, pull it into a low pony, or let it fall naturally. Only now it will fall in a way that makes your hair look fuller than it has in years. 3. Shoulder-length layered cut. What if you could have a haircut that gives you lift, movement, and energy, without sacrificing the thickness you still have at the ends? That's the beauty of a shoulder-length layered cut done the right way. For women over 60, this length opens up endless styling possibilities. It's long enough to feel feminine, short enough to avoid weighing itself down, and perfectly positioned for strategic layering that makes thin hair look instantly fuller. The secret lies in where the layers are placed. At this length, we can add lift and volume at the crown and around the face, while keeping the base of the cut, those bottom inches, strong and solid. Too often, layering is done indiscriminately, and the result is ends that look frayed and weak. But when layers are applied only to the top section of the hair, the weight and density remain intact through the lower portion, giving you the best of both worlds, body and fullness. Here's my professional way to ensure you keep that thickness. Before you commit to layers, pull the top section of your hair up into a clip and let the bottom fall naturally. Look at those ends in the mirror. If they already look thin, layering will only make it worse. So the solution is to layer above that section only, leaving everything below it untouched. If the ends look solid, you're free to add movement through the crown without fear of losing density. I remember one afternoon in the salon when my wife sitting in my chair asked, "What if the stylist says it can't be done?" I smiled because I'd heard that before. The truth is, a skilled stylist absolutely can do this. There's no technical reason they can't. If they insist otherwise, it's not your hair that's the problem. It's that they haven't mastered the technique. In that case, I tell my clients the same thing I told her. Find someone who understands how to work with fine hair, not against it. Once those top layers are in place, styling becomes a dream. You can round brush the crown for lift, let the layers fall naturally for a softer look, or even create loose waves that amplify the volume. Because the length still grazes the shoulders, you get a natural bounce with movement. Every turn of your head catches the light and makes your hair look more dimensional. The beauty of this cut is that it doesn't force you into one look. You can keep it sleek for a polished appearance or tousle it for an easy, effortless vibe. Either way, the layering strategy keeps the weight where it belongs, ensuring your hair feels strong and full at the bottom while gaining the lightness and airiness that comes from movement on top. A shoulder-length layered cut, when done right, isn't just a style, it's a little act of balance. It holds on to the security of thickness while embracing the freedom of volume. And for women after 60, that balance is exactly what makes hair look and feel alive again. 4. Chin-length bob with Nape Beveling. What if a simple curve at the back of your hair could instantly make your entire hairstyle look fuller, more lifted, and more refined? That's exactly what happens with a chin-length bob that's been beveled at the nape. For many women after 60, the idea of going this short can feel bold, but in reality, it's one of the most flattering lengths you can wear if you want your hair to look thicker and your features to feel naturally lifted. The beauty of this cut lies in two elements working together. First, the strong, precise line that sits right at the chin. It frames the face with intention, creating a clear edge that tricks the eye into seeing density. Second, the beveling at the nape, the gentle inward curve that allows the hair at the back to hug the neck rather than hanging straight. That curve draws the eye upward toward the jawline and cheekbones, subtly lifting the entire face. It's not just about fullness, it's about directing attention where you want it most. From a professional standpoint, beveling is an art. When you cut the nape in this way, you're essentially sculpting the hair to fold into itself, removing excess weight at the bottom while creating a supportive structure underneath. This not only enhances volume, but also gives the style a polished, finished look, even when you're not spending much time on it. One of my favorite tips for this style is how to blow dry it so the bevel stays in place. As you dry the nape, use your brush in small circular motions right at the base of the hairline. It's a subtle move, but it encourages the hair to curve under instead of flipping out. The result is a clean, rounded shape that stays put throughout the day, soft where it needs to be, but strong in its overall line. I remember my wife looking in the mirror the first time we tried this on her. She ran her fingers along the curve at the back and said, "What if my hair flips out no matter what I do?" I told her the truth. With the right blow-drying technique, you can control that tendency. And if a few ends still want to do their own thing, adding a gentle wave through the lower lengths can disguise it beautifully, making it look intentional rather than stubborn. This style carries an elegance that's hard to ignore. The chin-length line gives you definition. The nape beveling adds lift and structure. Together, they create a look that feels sleek yet full, modern yet timeless. It's the kind of haircut that doesn't just work for fine hair, it celebrates it, shaping it in a way that brings out its best qualities without demanding hours in front of the mirror. For women over 60 who want to feel both polished and light, the chin-length bob with nape beveling offers the perfect balance. Short enough to be manageable, long enough to frame the face gracefully, and crafted to make every strand work harder in your favor. Number 5. Pixie cut with soft texture. What if cutting your hair shorter could actually make it look thicker, fuller, and more feminine than it has in years? For many women over 60, the idea of a pixie cut feels intimidating. Too bold, too drastic, maybe even too boyish. But when it's done with soft texture and thoughtful shaping, a pixie can be the most transformative solution for thinning hair, especially if you're dealing with loss right at the scalp. Here's why it works. When hair is short, each strand has less weight pulling it down, so it naturally stands a little taller, creating lift at the root. In a textured pixie, the hair is cut in such a way that the strands stack and overlap, concealing areas where the scalp might otherwise show. This creates an illusion of density you simply can't achieve when the hair is longer and lying flat. Plus, the shorter length allows for more precise shaping around the face, building a frame that enhances your bone structure and draws attention to your best features. From a professional perspective, the magic of a soft-textured pixie is in its balance. The nape is kept short and clean, providing structure, while the top layers are left longer and feathered. Forward. That forward motion isn't just a styling choice, it's a face-lifting trick. It creates a gentle curve around the jawline and cheekbones, guiding the eye upward and softening the overall look. Add to that a few subtle highlights or a brighter hair color, and the style comes alive. catching light in a way that adds even more depth. I still remember the first time my wife considered a pixie. She looked at me with a mix of curiosity and hesitation and asked, "But won't it make me look too masculine?" I smiled, because I knew the answer. "Not if it's cut with softness," I told her. "Feathered layers, light movement, and a color that brightens your face. You'll look modern, fresh, and very much yourself." When she finally tried it, she realized the cut wasn't taking anything away from her femininity. It was giving it a whole new energy. Styling a pixie is surprisingly simple. A small amount of lightweight wax or cream can define the texture without weighing it down. Running your fingers forward through the top layers after applying product will keep the shape close to the face, framing it in a flattering way. This isn't a style that demands perfection. If anything, a little tousle makes it even better. The soft textured pixie is more than just a haircut. It's a statement of confidence. It says you're ready to embrace what works for you now, rather than holding on to what worked decades ago. And for women with fine or thinning hair, it's proof that sometimes the shortest path really is the one that leads to the fullest, most vibrant look you've had in years. In the end, it only takes one right change to turn fine, thinning hair into the feature that lights up your whole presence after 60. It's not about chasing trends or cutting away your identity. It's about finding the shape, the movement, and the little details that work with who you are today. Because hair is never just hair. It's the frame around your smile, the soft shadow that catches the light when you turn your head, the quiet introduction you make before saying a word. When it feels right, you carry yourself differently, not because you're trying, but because it's effortless. So here's what I'd love for you to do. If you've tried one of these styles before, drop a 1 in the comments. If you haven't, just type 0. And if you'd like me to share the hair colors that can make fine hair look instantly fuller, let me know. Subscribe not to change yourself, but to remind yourself that your beauty is worth tending to, gently, intentionally, and always in a way that feels like you.